Okay, let's talk about our Section 26 gasoline consumption assignment. So when you go to the assignment, you'll notice that there are two attachments here. You'll want to go to the Excel sheet and download that and open it. So when you open that, you'll get a spreadsheet with a bunch of gasoline consumption data. Go ahead and take that out. Each of these are years, and then you have two columns, the number of barrels in millions and billions of gallons of gasoline. And we're going to be looking at this first column. So what we're going to do is highlight the first two data sets down to here. Okay, so I'm just highlighting 1950 down to this number there. I'm going to go to Insert a Scatter Plot. So I look here underneath the bar chart right here. It says Scatter. Click on that. Click on the first one you see, and there's my scatter plot. So I can make it a little bit bigger. And so I can see, it looks kind of linear, a little bit off, but not bad. Once I have that on there, I'm going to want to go back to my thing here. Make sure you title it and label the axes. So add your axis labels. Then you're going to add a trend line. So the way we're going to do that, and make sure that you do add, I'm not going to show you that step, but go to the plus, add your chart elements. You need titles on both axes and change the chart title. So to add a trend line, I'm going to right click on one of my data points and hit add trend line. And when you do that, you want to make sure you click display equation and display R squared. Then you can close out of that. If you don't like the fact that the trend line's kind of dotted, you could also go to the paint bucket. Maybe, there you go. And you can change the line type to be, solid line if you like that better. And if you don't like blue, you can always change that to like a red. So sometimes, that dash of blue is kind of hard to see. So if you want to adjust that, you can. Okay, so once you have all that, here's your equation. Now that's really tiny. So one thing you can try to do is if you highlight it, you can change it to maybe a bigger font size. Sometimes it's really picky though, like it doesn't let me do it, then it'll let me do it. So you gotta have to be fidgety with it sometimes. So yeah, so I was able to get it eventually just by showing some persistence. Well, there we go, we got this graph. So once we have the graph, we got the equations and all that on there, then we're gonna hop over to here and we got some questions we have to do. We have to talk about, is there a correlation between our variables? Is it positive or negative? And what does the slope mean? If I look at this, what does 38.145 mean? Is that how many tacos we're selling per day? So what does that mean? So you'll interpret these things. Question E then will be in a text box. So you'll go insert text box. And you'll be able to answer all those questions up here. Alright, so you'll create that. You'll add the trend line. Make sure you have the equation on there. And then you'll answer these 4 questions and just kind of go from there. When it says use the trend line to estimate gasoline consumption, that doesn't mean take a look and guess. It means actually use the equation. So for example, my birth year is 1984. So what I would do is this needs to equal 38.4145 times 1984 minus 73,201. Okay, so this is the actual. I have it there. I made a date. That's weird. Okay, well the point is I'm typing in 1984. I'm not just looking at here and saying, well, it looks like about that. Okay, so I actually use that year on there, and that should get you what the trend line says. So, yep. So that's what estimating using the trend line means. It means go ahead and use that, but don't just look at it. Actually use that. Okay, then when we're comparing, remember that if the line is under the dots, you're underestimating. When the line's above the dots, you're overestimating. All right, so go ahead and get this done. Submit everything on the one file, all in Excel. and have fun with that.